Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Welcome to ZAID Ibrahim Podcast. You can subscribe. You can support us. Maybe with the improved algorithm, we can get some money. Anyway, today we have another special guest with me, Mr. Tian Chua. Welcome, Tian.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Tian Chua is somewhat old now, but in his younger days, he was full of fire. A man that's really pushed reformasi into the limelight. And I think it's not an exaggeration if I were to say he was the one who actually salvaged Anwar's political life, if I may say so. I was in reformasi too, but I was very quiet in the corner and not as brave as Tian Chua. Now, today, Tian, we're going to talk a few things about Malaysian politics. One of the main grievances or things that people talk about in a coffee shop or in a cafe, in a bar today is that, our government is not very strong, the government make a lot of mistakes, but the opposition is very weak. It is like the opposition is not cohesive, the opposition is not having the leadership issue. These are things people talk about.
Yeah.
And I think some of our friends also talk like that, So, I first want to know what's your response to that.
I think somehow the good thing about democracy is it allowed people to feel unsatisfied or dissatisfied and allow people to express it. So I think this is probably, to me, is a form of locomotive to push progress, to push for change. The particular situation now, I feel that perhaps what we have lost is the focus of the debate. It has always been, as you said, there's a lot of debate about the government is not strong, the government is not consists of uniform ideology, therefore they cannot do this, they cannot do that. That's one side of it. On the other side of it is people think that if it's not strong for certain ethnic group, the other interest body will undermine the central group of people. Whatever is, I think the discourse has been getting so diverse and loss of direction. So much so that it end out that talking politics is a form of enjoyment or entertainment rather than giving a direction. And as a result, people should realize that there's a fatigue. People lost interest in discussing it. And, the real issues still continue. And that's why there are still a lot of materials to discuss about it. I want to be very quickly jump into saying, I think the real issues for any government is about the administration of economy, the ensurance of well-being of the majority of the people. So these are the issues, and it is universal. Today you see the havocs in United States,
Yes.
and we have a new Democrats candidates that just won the pre-selection. Clearly,
Yes, in New York.
That was the issues about cost of living, people feeling being alienated by excessive concentration of wealth and things like that. So I think Malaysia is no exception.
Yes, but how do you rate the effectiveness of the opposing voices?
I think we have been historically accumulative from over the years. There is a certain awareness of the key issue, which is the redistribution of wealth. Unfortunately, that discussion only touched the surface, and because we have a certain set of formula, such as our Bumiputra policy, such as our the assurance of Malay political securities, if you may say. This has been the focus of it, and therefore when we discussed it, we have deprived ourselves from discussing the political economy of things. We are only talking about the political distribution of power instead of talking about political economy of distribution of resources.
I think that's a good observation you make. That actually, power on the surface, it looks like it's controlled by a certain group, or Malays or whatever. But that's superficial, actually.
Yeah.
Because power is controlled by people with money.
Yeah, there is a certain structure economy. I think it's true. I mean, since independence, we realized that there is a gap between the migrants population and the indigenous population that is universal everywhere, right? This is our heritage of colonialism, and we can complain about it. We can have a lot of theory to say what it was wrong, and I also think that it is one of the greatest injustices in human history. But then we are living with it. So what do we do with it? And are we devising effective mechanism to overcome it? Or rather that we are so addicted to the rhetoric, and we are so happy to continue the rhetoric without changing the economic structure. And
and you're right, because here we have a lot of labels we live by. But labels do not tell the real story.
Well, it's
labels are just labels, because if you want to propagate a certain
I mean, I agree with you fully. Okay, my house is a mess, right? So I do not know how to sort it out. But I get box and I put it into this is useful thing, not useful thing. I just dump everything in there, right? So just at least it gives us a certain tidiness. But I'm not sorting out the problem.
You're not sorting out the problem.
All my things there, right?
Okay. So now, how do you propose we do that? I'm every time we talk about politics in this country, every time the opposition didn't do very well, people always say, "Oh, we need another group, we need another third force, we need another this," but that's just dividing us more and more. And I don't know whether that is the right way. I would like to hear from you. What are the things that we need to do to address the mess in the house, rather than just putting in the boxes?
I think that the issues that we first, as I said, we have to identify what is the source of the problem. Okay, we have the argument that there is a seemingly unequal balance of power in politics. But where is the source of this, right? If we don't address the source, we are just constantly debating about who has more power in within parliaments, or who have more influence in the civil service, or who has more influence in the government, as if like it's purely because how big is the size of your population, how you mobilize people to support a certain leaders or certain political party, and that will solve all the problem. I think that issues have been haunting us for half a century. I mean, since new economic policies, we have not real serious discussion about the political economy of this country. Right? At that time, it proposed certain thing, which at the time I think is applicable and is important. But now, after all these years, there's no serious discussion again to check our reality, the global situation, the domestic situation, and to come out to daring enough to come up with new formulas. So I think any political forces that want to become, I won't to lead the country to the next century, must start to address this and must start to debate about it. We may not get a solution, a common solution, but I think first let's identify what are the problem and let's or addressing that problem instead of going all over the places.
Okay. Now, actually, the new economic policy was supposed to end long ago.
Yeah. Well,
how come?
How come is because people are too lazy to think about new things.
Yes.
Right.
I want to stop it.
Yeah.
So when Dr. Mahathir said in 1990, I think he said it that we need more liberal Malaysia, more open Malaysia. I think that was in 1990 when he said that. If I remember.
Yeah.
And I think they were willing to even to question the very basic of the NEP.
This is why I think our domestic situation is so much linked to the global situation, because at that time it was an era of optimism. You know, if we remember, everyone talked about Asia and Pacific era. You know, this is a center of economic growth and all these things. And then the whole situation is people are positive about market economy. People are positive about expanding your export. People are positive about liberalizing your state enterprise and all these things. So that optimism has, I mean, I'm not Mahathir, but I think prompted some of the ruling elites to believe that maybe, you know, we can embrace those liberal thoughts, more open. But what I think is the real happen, which also linked to our current situation, is the Asia financial crisis. That crushed the confidence that earlier we have. So then we have two very distinct approach. One represented by Mahathir, who intend to savage whatever it is and started to realize that this great jungle out there called global capitalism are not so friendly. It could overnight wipe out whatever we have built overnight. So he decided that he'll go with stronger state intervention, and we have Anwar, who believed that maybe we shouldn't put a stop now, and we should be more reflective about our own chronistic practice and all that. And that caused the split. And in the time of crisis, I think there's no civility or this sort of courtesy to have a debate about what's this, and both take a very harsh position. As a result, we see the clash, and the rest are history about reformasi. So I think the subsequent leaders after Mahathir purely just continuation. I mean, it's like today we see if you do not have a better civil servant to replace a high-ranking one, you just extend 6 months. So because you are too lazy or do not have the courage to choose someone that maybe will shake the establishment. So that's why you just say, okay, we just postpone another year or postpone another 6 months. We don't think about it for the time being. So unfortunately, that postponement it dragged on since the financial crisis until today. There was no serious discussion on our economic structures, the future of it, and we have some various leaders has attempted to bring. I mean, I don't want to totally deny people like Najib who are trying to improve the civil service, changing some of the working culture and all this thing. Even Anwar now trying to adjust the prices and making sure that we are not overly dependent on subsidies and all this thing. But to me, this is still very knee-jerk. It has not gone into the real core of issues. I think we need that courage and daringness to debate about it, and whoever want to challenge the system, be it in opposition or the government or some thinking people, we have to come come to that core to debate and to understand where do we go from here.
You see, the one issue that I think a noticeable change in my view, the noticeable change now, I think people are not so, I don't know, so confined to ethnic issues as much as before. I don't know whether that my observation.
I think the reality is that doesn't solve problem.
Yeah, but at least if you are not so obsessed with something, you are willing to listen.
Yeah, that's right. I think everyone in this country acknowledge that there is a gap in economic distribution or distribution of wealth between different ethnic groups. That's a reality. The issues is where do we go from here?
But you think it's an ethnic group issue or is it a class issue?
Okay, it is a class issues, but then class and ethnicities are both natural thing. I mean, people have certain cultural identification. People feel that, but certain ethnicities, they face certain problem. This is also due to years of colonial system, and also exposure because they are confined to their environment and their cultural context. So I don't want to totally deny it, but the solution is not necessarily ethnic one. I mean, recognizing certain people. I mean, for example, I wouldn't say the Indian estates they are poor just purely because of class. Because they are also poor Chinese working class. But the being confined in estates, being only confined to an environment which is really not free, so that created certain disadvantage for them, and we can't just purely talking about they are not affected because they're Indian. Right, so this is something that we have to recognize, but that doesn't mean that addressing the problem will neglect the rest of the problem. In fact, this is where our political discourse has always been. If you give one to this, it means that there will be one less for the others. So I mean, it's a very, I mean, maybe partly also, I'm sure our previous colonial master trying to make that sink into our mind. If you give one piece to the Chinese, that means that you have one less. So these are the thing that creating clashes.
Okay, so ethnicity and religious considerations and all that. I don't know. My observation is that people are more willing to, maybe because of social media, people are more exposed to the world. And young people, I think, especially when I was watching this analysis in New York, where this guy, a 33-year-old Muslim, Indian origin, when he won the Democratic
pre-selection,
and he wanted to do, he said, I will do stores, community stores all over New York City. If I win. I mean, that's socialism,
He called himself first time you have American who have the confidence to call themselves democratic socialists. Last time is such a taboo.
It's a taboo.
You cannot.
So you see, we can do it here.
I think people will have to understand now different economic thoughts. We shouldn't be just have this fixation to say socialism equal to atheism, equal to undermining of religion.
But I think there is no more like that.
I mean, well, I don't want to underestimate the
power
conservative,
of
the conservative forces. And there are two types of people who are genuinely conservative and believe that that's a threat. Any form of this type of thing is undermining There are also people who know that this is not a threat, but not brave enough to stand up to say, actually, there's nothing wrong. So these are majority. Unfortunately, that is why it been. I think American society too, because I think for many years they know this lack of healthcare system. You go and bomb countries elsewhere is really wrong, but you just don't have people to speak up. Yeah. But what Trump did is that he brought out the devil of the conservative, right? A lot of people strongly believe that migrant is all their problem. So it used to be like everyone like being very polite. You don't say it. Democrat won't say it. Republican won't say it. Suddenly you have this guy loudmouth enough to say, "Oh, our problem come from the communists. Or our problem come from migrant and all that." So that opened out for people to say, "No, wait a minute. I think there's a lot of the problem." So I mean that somehow is a positive contribution of these Trump issues that make people dare enough to say, no, this is entirely a lot of BS and we shouldn't entertain it. So you have a good leading example of someone who is a migrant, people in New York. And a lot of people say New York is controlled by the Jews. And in fact, a minority Muslim, no one questioned his religious affiliations So and he won, and by promising a better society for everybody. So I think Malaysia need people who are courageous enough to do this.
Okay, now, but one issue that we have actually is that see, our laws are very restrictive.
Yes. That's
true. Those the government consider sensitive. Actually, it's essential.
Yeah.
You cannot discuss all these real issues of the country without running foul of these laws.
Yeah.
And why is Anwar keeping those laws?
I think, again...
Is he not confident enough to deal with the issue?
I think a lot of people hope that he could be more confident. Because for me, there are very few situation. I mean, you had to take heads off for him that being a party which only commands so few seats, that eventually built out to 2/3 majority in the parliament. That should give him lots of confidence in that, instead of saying that he doesn't have the majority. He actually have that, right? So I think he should be brave enough, and I think he has the capital to be brave enough to change, right? I'm not sure where he might have his priority list. To me, maybe at some stage he will touch it, but I think to bring out what we discussed now, the civil liberty that to be granted to the citizen is the things that you should run first, right? Should allow people to open up, and then you can see this come from the rakyat. Yeah. You can tell your conservative, actually, it's not that I want to push. You look at it. This is what the rakyat want, and this is popular. So it will also somehow create certain consensus with the opposition that let's not debate about things that irrelevant. The rakyat actually not interested. And we are just going to debate about who's Chin Peng cousin lah. Who is all these things.
Oh, you are related to YTL.
Yeah. So those are no consequence of whatever it is. So I think that loosening out to allow people to have freedom to debate should come first. And I really hope that the government will do more on allowing better press, more press freedom, more room for discussion, and more room for dissent. Yeah, that's very much.
But Ibrahim Ali was with me yesterday.
Yeah.
He said the problem with Anwar is he's so insecure.
I think there's no reason to be. There is totally no reason to be, because first, I mean, with due respect, we haven't seen a strong enough unified opposition that can represent him. I mean, for that respect, you have full sympathy with Najib because for every time there's always an alternative and people are always comparing him with opposition. So currently Anwar doesn't have that. So he shouldn't feel insecure about his support. And secondly, as I said, in the parliament enjoying 2/3 majority, with most of the party too used to not challenging the ruling formula. I mean, I can see, the coalition member that they have are so used to put out their hand whenever the parliament presenting a bill. So you will not see in country in the West where coalition member keep threatening to walk out because they don't like this bill. They will ask for a better share of distribution of their government allocation and all. We don't see this, and we have some debate about state power and all these things, but that's a healthy debate. There's nothing, it will not undermine the government. So I would hope that for the remaining years, the current government is sure to be more confident and less seems to be insecure or frightened of public opinion, or even frightened of what sometimes people trying to justify the deep states. I think these are maybe a lot of chalk lines that we draw for ourselves and say, oh, this is wire electric fence we cannot cross, because if we cross we will be shot to death. But in reality, they are chalk line, right? Yeah.
Now, back to I just want to we cannot run away from the influence of political parties in as much as the other influence.
I don't deny that.
There's no deny that. Now, the Malay party we already talked Satu, we have to discuss this. And but I now want to talk because you also know the MCA very well. I was reading this news about MCA having a split at the divisional level. That the majority of the divisions they wanted to leave BN.
I think they want to leave the government, but don't want to leave BN.
Oh, they wanted to leave the government, but
don't want to leave. It's a very awkward situation.
No. Oh, so I must be wrong. I thought that they wanted.
But there are some people who say leave BN altogether. But it seems that most people are unhappy with the government, but not willing to break with BN. So anyway, continue with your point.
But so the president says, "Oh, we'll decide in November." What is it that they're going to decide? My understanding is totally screwed up.
I think they are in a very difficult if I put in their shoes, that first of all, a structure of a mono ethnic party in the Barisan Nasional formula is no longer relevant to UMNO, the taiko of Barisan Nasional. Right, a mono-ethnic party, whether you are from Indian or you're from Chinese party, easily replaced by another party. Today, the role of MCA has been replaced by DAP. So UMNO wouldn't pay too much attention. I mean, maybe for the old time's sake, they will keep them and they will continue to show certain solidarity and certain support, and UMNO to some extent also need MCA to mobilize for them in the Chinese but there's nothing UMNO can do to offer to MCA, and MCAs feel that they are in the ruling party. But there's no meaning to be a ruling party where you don't share resources. Put aside political influence or power, they don't even got position. They don't have a chance to appoint their people into GLC and other things. So this put them in a very bad
but I want to know. I mean you are involved in politics for a long time. What is it that makes them? I thought the option is obvious.
The option.
I thought the option should be the MCA being the one is the oldest Chinese party, the richest, or at least by traditional standard, high-rise building, corporations, companies. They have a lot of money, and they have a lot of members.
Yeah.
Why is it that they don't have the confidence to leave UMNO or Barisan? It cannot be nostalgia, bro.
No. Nostalgia is the thing that the leaders sit around and try to do that. And partly nostalgia, partly also illusion, right? They probably will hope that maybe at some stage, UMNO and Barisan Nasional may want to take an independent stand against PH, and therefore maybe they can reinvent themselves and re-emerge as a useful force. But that is very much depend on external factor rather than their own doing. But I think historically, MCA has been a party of a ruling party. People join MCA for getting certain perks from the government, and they have accumulated a lot of members who are like that. So their unhappiness is less of ideological or less of a critique of the policy of government. Is their unhappiness is a meaningless thing to be in government while you don't enjoy anything from the government. So, but then throwing them to the deep blue sea is something that they have not thought of. They have to start thinking of building their own boats, and they have to say, well, for 20 years I have not swum. I have not swum, whether I am still capable of swimming. All this become something that make them very reluctant. So you are right. The longer they delay this decision, the more irrelevant they're going to be. Right? So already we see 2008 when Pakatan won many of the MCA seats. A lot of their grassroots has shifted. A lot of their more idealistic people have moved to PKR, right? So then by 2018, they're totally out of government, and I think many of their grassroots has collapsed, right? But they still maintain certain things. They revive themselves after the Sheraton move. Suddenly they come back to government. So even though they don't get public support, but they have something to distribute and maintain the party structure. But now, entering into a new situation where 2 years, 3 years down the line, they still see no hope of it. I think that's a lot of grassroots resentment. At the same time, I think it is also real that over the last 2 years, gradually the Chinese voters who are used to be very solidly supporting PH also started to complain that there's a lot of unhappiness emerge. And MCA also picked out those vibes. They picked it out. And so to position themselves that there's a possibility of walking out, give hope to the people outside there. So, but the thing is, that will go away if they don't make a decision. I'm not sure what they are waiting. I mean, this sort of November. Waiting. The November, it seams to be
a bit long, isn't it?
It seems to be a bargaining strategy rather than this. I'm sure we can make a bet. If let's say Anwar throw 2 JLC and maybe 1 deputy minister to them, I think the November decision will be forgotten. Right? So
maybe they're waiting for that. Huh?
It will. Yeah, I mean, it will seems to be that way, right? That will make people even more cynical about MCA, right? Yeah.
Now, I know we talked about MCA a bit. Now, I want to ask you about Gerakan as well, because I remember Gerakan in the early days.
Yeah.
The Lim Chong Yu days.
Yeah.
The days when I thought they were making middle of the road politics more acceptable, more palatable, you know?
Yeah.
And I think less threatening to Malays particularly.
Yeah.
And but somehow along the way they lost steam. Maybe because of the rise of DAP, I don't know. Or is it because they themselves have
because they have been so used to in the Barisan Nasional formula. In Barisan Nasional, they are the alternative MCA. And you see, people sort of forgot Gerakan is a social democratic party when it was formed.
Yeah.
You know, it's only different with the Socialist Front. They decided to participate in the election instead of boycotting it under the repression. So it's a strategical difference, but they are still emerged as a social democratic force. And they, in the early days of Penang, they ruled Penang in a social democratic way. And Chong Yu's success is to transform Penang from totally depend on free anthropopods economy, which basically you just depend on trading, into an industrial society. So that really give Gerakan a lot of weight when you come to support, and a lot of people, as you say, a bit more non-threatening, because they focus on the issues about redistribution of wealth. When you create more wealth, everyone get a better share of it. So, but Gerakan has lost it to be just purely talking about we are a bit more moderate in terms of racial politics, and that doesn't carry very much weight and appeal to people.
Why is that?
Because they have lost that. What is the economic agenda of Gerakan now? Nobody know, right? You are just purely say, oh, we are not as extreme as MCA or DAP, but that doesn't. There's no appeal on to the people, right? So I mean, it's the same as the New York. What's it called? Our candidates, Zoran, right? If he said that I'm just a democratic Muslim, I'm not threatening, I'm not Taliban, you think people will vote for him? No, people will not vote for him just by saying that, I'm not as extreme, I'm just your friendly one, no. So that's because there's no agenda. There's nothing. So today, unless I go back to where we start the first 10 minutes, that people has to be able to address the issue or agenda. Otherwise, they'll be the big boys between all the ethnic groups, and they have all their representatives sit down and discuss. You get this, I get this, you get this, you get that. Then that is the traditional wisdom that have been going on for years and years, but that doesn't solve our economic problem, and people continue to be unhappy. Chinese small business people will still continue to complain, and they are not being supported enough. We cannot grow to be an economic power. And then you have Malay that continue to struggle in their daily life. I mean, I simplistically to say Malay, and then because it's still a class thing. But then, because each of the representative of the party turn it into a bargaining of ethnic power distribution, then we have never solved the problem, right? So I think we can recognize that, but jump out of it and say, look, let's look into the class issues, and when we solve the problem of the working class, we solve 70-80% of the Malay problem, right? If we solve the problem of homelessness, then we solve many of the issues about ownerships of property and all these things. We don't have to be so obsessed about ethnicity, right? So if we start looking into that, then I think maybe we will get somewhere. Other than we keep talking about which ethnic group get how many, what are the proportion of the economic wealth.
Okay, so it looks to me like that the barrier we have to break, actually. The barrier is, it's not so much the issues that I think people know. I mean, people will understand the issues of no, there are no solutions being offered for something new. New approaches to economic management, new approaches to civil service, new approaches to all these things. I think people know, but the people who are controlling the votes in parliament.
Yeah.
The party leaders, the brokers,
Yeah. Yeah.
they can survive.
Yeah.
I mean, 200, the mathematics is 222. If I get 112,
Yeah.
I can control.
Yeah.
All right?
True.
So, so the politics, the pressing issue is how do I get 112 rather than how do I solve the nation's problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I being too simplistic?
Yeah. I think this is a problem that we are all chasing the 112, right? So end up that you take shortcuts. You're trying to get some most simplistic way of getting it. I think that's why we are stuck. I mean, in the sense, I think a lot of people hate to say that. In the way we have this situation in many countries where things cannot move, and this is what happened in Israel, right? I mean, Netanyahu just need that simple majority to continue the war, right? But he's not trying to find a solution. He's not trying to keep in power and prolong the problem, and then it's gone on 70 years, and then it might go on for another 70 years if politicians in Israel or even on the other side of Palestine side just purely interested to keep my side of the majority, keep me to be the my taiko, and then I can then get the access to power, to access to bomb people, to access to shoot missiles. I mean, that's where I think you need to jump out and start thinking, well, this is the world that we want to see.
Okay, we're coming to the last part of of this discussion, conversation. I had a brief chat with the past Secretary General a few days ago. An old friend of mine. He's also from Kota Baru. And I told him, I said, you have to get more Chinese support, or rather non-Malay support, non-Muslim support. Because although PAS has got 43 seats now, the last election, there were three-corner fights between UMNO and Pakatan Harapan. And in some ways that contributed to their getting that number. So if now they're together, and they are together, the PAS is going to have a struggle to keep the 43. That's what I think. Which means that unless you
expand your
and you change your image of yourself, it will be very difficult. So that's what I think. And from my feedback, the past leaders, I spoke to a few. They say, we are already transforming. We are focusing on more inclusivity. We are defending the institutions and all that. And then suddenly we saw this episode a few days ago about one of the past division leaders criticizing he said he was just a satire, but he was actually criticizing the promotion of a Chinese in the army. Which created a lot of backlash. And so much so that it's only about 11 o'clock at night that past Secretary General issued a statement that no, this is not the party stand. That this is one individual. And I'm glad they did that. But how, as a Chinese, I know you are Melaka, right? So Melaka not really Chinese, lah. Chinese maybe from Penang. Well, I hope my friends in Penang don't construe it wrongly. But how do you see the prospect of PAS changing in a very fundamental way?
I think, in a very personal level, I would really like to see, and I would really like to help us to transform. I mean, not even because about them winning more seats. I think it's good for the country if all political parties have on the same page as mutual understanding about the common issue. So I think it is important. I mean, I will go all my way to trying to help that, and to trying to also to reduce the fear among the non-Muslim that's trying to see this is isolated case. I think our ethnic situation is so charged out, right? So
what?
And very charged, very
charged, okay.
very charged. So I mean, I won't say this is only in past. I mean, you have some DAP
as well.
Come out, and then this side will be like, it's like end of the world. This is like, you are just humiliating my religion. And my royal institution will collapse because of this, very silly statement coming from some DAP members or some Chinese member who, you must be DAP. I mean, if they say it, you must be DAP. So it's all like that. So I would even want to put this to the Madani inclusivity government, that they should trying to build a bridge. I know, I mean, deep down, maybe this is a secret. Anwar has tried to court PAS to come in. I think the premise of courting them is not about how friendly he is to PAS or how willing PAS acceptable to the Madani agenda. Actually, is this how the two at the extreme can actually talk, and because they are so used to whacking each other to get their votes, and they have to start thinking that, I will hope that, there be some sort of informal or formal whatever communication. I mean, I'm sure even if we see now the global situation, before Iran fired the missile to Qatar to avoid killing, it actually informed the US, right? So I mean, enemy states can actually have that. So I think things like that, there must be a hotline, the SecGen of PAS and the SecGen of DAP. If for the sake of the country, I would dramatize the whole thing even further. SecGen, if someone happened that the SecGen of PAS come out to deny this a party, you get SecGen of DAP to welcome the statement. And then that will ease down.
But the SecGen of DAP did not say anything.
Yeah, but the SecGen of DAP take the opportunity to whack PAS to say this is your true face. This is so I think that's not good for the country. You should start. To them, this is a very golden opportunity to now compensate of perhaps there are some losing of Chinese support over whatever issues. Then now to whack this is probably will help them to boost back their support. I think that's a very short-sighted. So it should be more of this, and then you will see a genuine shift towards the real debate rather than again this ethnic mobilization.
Okay. Let's hope that there will be some rapprochement.
I think there's some sort of informal communication. It's always good to come with a lot of common issues where all parties can come to agree. So then you narrow down. I mean, in a way, in the old days, I mean, before Trump's and all this, the Western democracy come down to the debate about the degree of state intervention and the degree of private individual freedom in terms of taxations and things like that. And the rest of them, there's consensus. People have consensus about foreign policy. People have consensus about their own necessity of demographic change and all that. And that make debate more healthy and then make voter more focused on which way they want to go. Now, we do not know.
It's all over the place.
We do not know when we vote for a certain party whether they will be inclusive of higher tax or lower tax. You do not know everything. So that actually is a denial of the public rights, and as a result, people get frustrated, and people will start to either reject politics or they go something more extreme. So, and that's not good. And it is a responsibility of all political party to move towards that direction.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, Tian Chua, good to talk to you, and I hope we can have more session like this.
Thank you.
I think there is, I don't know, I don't monitor my following or whatever, but I think it's improving. I see a lot. I get some free roti canai here, but I don't know. So so it's good. So I hope that we can continue this discussion on other issues. And thank you.
Thank you.